Hello everybody, welcome back to Wolfeei. Today we have updates for MCC Twitch Rivals EU 2025 Rotterdam, whatever you want to call it, but we have a bunch of new people confirmed, roughly like 20-ish new people. There's like 18, but we're at over half of the roster confirmed now, rather than just 6. So that's interesting, exciting. There's some new people confirmed, and I just want to talk about some of the things that we've now seen develop on the Twitch Rivals page. So, if you were not aware just yet, this was the state of the confirmed players last time. This is very, expected list of people. To my knowledge, the reason why we only knew about these 6 people is because only the featured creators were being shown and not other people. I would argue that might not be fully true because if you look here, featured streamers, if you know who's in, you'll realize, hey, hold on. So I don't know how that works. Either way, the updated list looks like this now. These are all the confirmed players thus far as of April 15th. For MCC Twitch Rivals, so a month and a half in advance of this event, and the developments that we're seeing here are very interesting because there is a specific, group of potential players that are currently missing, and I'll talk about that shortly. But we see newly added 5UP. We see actually, I'm saying this as if I don't remember, or as if I remember everyone who was in before. But this is also interesting to bring up. Becky was like half confirmed beforehand. This website originally was like outdated, and it featured some people who are not on this specific screenshot. Becky was one of them. There's 2 others, and they're both not on this yet. I will talk about it because I assume they're confirmed, but that is something that I do recall being the case. Fit's back for his second MCC. Maybe he'll be a Rivals EU exclusive player. I feel like he won't, but maybe he will be. And then obviously we have some other people. Hannah now making it as well because she wasn't able to last year because of VidCon. Martin making an appearance, which we had an idea would probably happen because I think it was, I want to say Joel, Martin, and maybe Jimmy or some like that type of group. We're talking about like after Rivals EU wanting to be in the next one, or wanting to try to be in the next one, which then led to Joel, for example, right, being in the NA one last year, and now obviously he is showing up here as well. Jeremy's back. We love more Dutch rep. We kind of had the idea Jeremy would be back regardless because he is one of the main faces of Dutch, Minecraft, etc. And Link Tiger being confirmed means that, they're probably going to be on the same team. I don't know if there will be a full Dutch team. There could be, but I don't know if there will be. We'll see, I guess. Alongside JL Tommy, we now have Gil confirmed again as well. Gil was on the French team last year, so these guys will probably be on the same team. Makes sense that Gil's back in. Gil, from what I know, at least, was one of the main faces of UHC back in the day, at least in terms of the French people, and that makes sense. Hugo, I think already knew was technically confirmed. I think that was somewhat leaked. I don't think it really mattered, but supposedly he said on stream that he would be in. And then Pangi is a very notable addition here because this is now officially. It depends on who's in blank canvas, but this is now officially the first starting player from Lifesteal joining MCC. What I mean with that is, as much as we have Hannah, and as much as technically we have SB, both of them were in MCC before they were in Lifesteal SMP. This is now the first person who was in Lifesteal SMP first, and then joined MCC, which is good. That's cool. We wanted to see that, and that's perfect. So Pangi being in, very well deserved, of course. He's been making a big push recently with content with The Realm, and I think, generally speaking, he was going to be in my top 3 ads for MCC this year regardless, and I'm glad to see him. I think he really deserves it. I am curious to see if we'll see more Lifesteal members in, because I know, from my knowledge, at least, I don't really keep up, but there's some more Lifesteal people who have joined The Realm, and I think Scott's probably relatively active on there, so they're probably getting along decently well. Would be cool if we could see Zam make an appearance, or Ash, or Darapchu, or whoever. Clown would be cool, of course, right? Whoever else is on there. I might be missing someone, I apologize. But it would be really sick to see that. Phil also making his way in this year. I also feel like he was at VidCon last year. I know he was at TwitchCon Paris, so I expected him to potentially make an appearance here, which is cool. Then Rendog. Very cool to see another Hermit here. Curious to see if False will make an appearance. That's unknown as of yet. I assume maybe, but we don't know. Ren probably gonna be with another Hermit, I assume, but I guess he doesn't have to be. And then the most notable person to talk about here is Saiiren. I am particularly quite excited to see Saiiren in the event, and you might be very confused, or not because it's a VTuber, but you might be very confused at who Saiiren is, because Saiiren, I will admit, is very much not within this bubble, I think, of people generally speaking. Saiiren is a VTuber, of course, and they're known for a few things. It is mentioned in this comment on Reddit here that Saiiren actually is responsible for hosting a bunch of, short-lived but successful micro projects like a Cobblemon SMP, which I am aware of, and then Mine in the Abyss server, both with a lot of VTubers and VTuber adjacent folk. It would have made sense for Saiiren to make an appearance in Block Wars, I will say. We just got unlucky. But cool to see VTubers, potentially, a VTuber, make their way into MCC, because I think they're really fun people, and I think they genuinely, at least early on in Block Wars, kind of got looked down upon because they're, different and whatever, and I'm glad to see at least one in MCC. One thing I will note, I don't know too much about Saiiren regarding, where she's originally from, etc. I don't know if Saiiren would be invited by Twitch to play in this, possibly, or if this is a situation where Saiiren could potentially be in blank canvas and then signed up for this event, where maybe this is accidentally, a revelation of, oh, Saiiren's in MCC. I don't know if that's the case. This is just a, question, open-ended question. I could see it kind of being a situation for both ways, because like mentioned, Saiiren is a featured streamer, so there's a chance that she maybe expressed interest and got in through that. And also, something I wanted to mention is, as much as Jail Tommy, Link Tiger, and Tubbo were all confirmed from being featured streamers, Saiiren was a featured streamer, and she wasn't on here yet, so I don't know how that works, but regardless. For the rest, notable is, Joel, of course, here, and for the rest, it makes sense. I mean, the rest of the list is about as expected, so that's cool. One thing I want to talk about. So I've said there's a certain type of group of people potentially missing. And if we look at last year's roster, one thing that was very notable was that this was probably the highest comp event, or one of the highest comp events of Season 4. There are no S tiers, I think, in the roster right now, or at least very few. I mean, the closest we're getting is Hannah, right? And Shadoon. Okay, Shadoon is an S tier, never mind, my bad. So we have very few S tiers, at least, as in, literally a handful. 5UP I could see debatably becoming an S tier, if I'm being fully honest. We'll have to wait and see. And yeah, that's one thing that's very notable and interesting. I will say, obviously, people are going to be curious about my thoughts and if I'm going to be in this event. I'm going to assume that this may be kept as a bit of a weaker roster. There's two situations that I think could happen here. Either the S tiers won't be invited until it is, time for teams to be made, and it's seen that an S tier may be needed for a team to be balanced, or they just don't do a lot of S tiers. Maybe they make it a little bit lower comp, which I honestly think would be really interesting, because I think a Twitch Rivals is already incentivized to be pretty high comp, and leaning into just having a bunch of really high skill players, as much as it mostly fits the theme of the event, could maybe be a little much for some of the people that are participating. So that's my thoughts. I'll gladly, of course, accept an invite if I end up getting one. But as of right now, I don't know. I have no clue how things exactly work, because I also am not in MCC. If I was in the Discord, I'd know a lot more. I wouldn't be able to tell you, but I would know a lot more, and I don't. So that is that. And then, yeah, this is the tab where I was going to show who's missing, quote-unquote, which is not really the case. We'll look at it again in a little bit. But from the top, 15, I guess, Well, let's go top 20, honestly. From the top 20 of last event, you have Shadoon, you have 5up, you have Owen, Callum, Scott, Hugo, Jeremy. That's it. So there's like a third of the top half of last year's MCC EU event currently in the roster confirmed, which could be interesting. Kind of a, rookies example. Not that this is a rookies event, but you know what I mean. Rookies example of like, you're going to get a bunch of different people having a chance at getting top 10, top 5, etc., right? So that'll be cool if that is the case. Maybe we'll see Esther's at the end, but we'll have to wait and see. Because now, something that's very notable to see. Also, I'll just talk about the Jimmy, Solidarity Gaming. He's confirmed going to the con. That's how this works. The other person was Eloise. I assume they're both still in. I don't know. Twitch website loves being a bit silly sometimes. So I'm just going to actually quickly grab them from my little thing and just put them in there. Jimmy would be new, and then Eloise is returning. So this is potentially the current situation on who is in. I'll talk about potential combinations briefly because I think it's interesting and important to note. So, what do we have that we know for sure? Hugo probably going to be on a German team, right? That's highly likely. I think I think Hugo may have been like the quote-unquote captain of last year's German team. I assume the way it works is one person's invited and brings the rest, which I assume would have been Hugo, but I don't think it necessarily has to be. It's either Hugo or Wichtiger. I don't know which one of the two it would have been. In this instance, Gil, I guess, would probably be the captain for the, what's it called? French team. I'm going to put the French team, I guess, in orange for now. French team. Especially now that we have two of them confirmed, highly likely that's going to be a combination. Now, the next thing, two things are interesting. Shadoon is the only Spanish-speaking confirmed player thus far. I could see them not doing a Spanish team because we've already had a lot of Spanish teams, but it also does make sense for any event to have a Spanish team, for it to be the European one where, of course, bilingualism is very common and having different languages represented makes a lot of sense. However, I could see them not doing one, but we'll have to wait and see, because also we run into the quote-unquote issue, it's not really a problem, of running out of spots, right? If we're currently at 26, assuming that Eloise and Jimmy are also confirmed, 26 players, we're missing 3 additional additions for the German team to make sense, so that would be 29. 2 French players, that'd be 31. Hypothetically speaking, if Shadoon has a Spanish team, that'd be another 3, that'd be 34. And then we have to figure out the rest of the teams, and then also, what about a potential Dutch team, right? That would be another 2. 36, we then only have 4 slots left. So how would that work? I don't know, but we'll have to wait and see. One thing I do want to also note is in terms of who would probably go together. As much as Pangi is Dutch, I don't expect him to go like in that type of direction. I think he'll just have a Realm team, and he'll probably be on Pink because it's a Realm team, unless Toby doesn't want to be on Pink again. But I think that makes a lot of sense for Pangi to be with Toby. In a similar regard, I think Phil will probably be with Fit. This could be the same team, but that is quite strong. But I think that could be fine. 5up will probably be with Saiiren, if I had to guess. Hannah, I also understand, would be paired up with Pangi potentially. That would make sense too. Hannah, I think, also makes a lot of sense to be with this squad. I think, I could be wrong, but I'm fairly sure that Jeremy said that he wanted to team with Hannah, or that he either talked that he wanted to team with Hannah, like way back, something like that. And I think Hannah might know Link Tiger, but I'm not sure. So that could be something that is interesting to potentially look at. Then you have Joel, could be with Ren, and then a lot of the people in the returning tab are people that will mostly work fairly easily together with other people. So we'll have to wait and see exactly how that will develop. I think Jimmy could be on this team as well, right? We'll have to see. The rest is interesting. We'll have to see, again, like mentioned, what's going to happen, because with the people that we have left, these are all like pretty, on average, this is a pretty competent squad. And I think theoretically, if this is a Spanish team, right? So Spanish team, then and then this is not a Dutch team, so we take off the 2, so we'd be at 34. With who is currently left, I think you're not going to get many S tiers. Probably. Maybe you'll get like 2 at most, depending on who's together, because in terms of actually figuring out balancing, and also in terms of figuring out who's actually going to be on the same team together, you're not going to have a lot of situations where it's going to be like 3 weaker end players together, probably, to make up a full roster. Also, something that I currently am looking at that's very interesting is, what does this 5-up team look like? Because this is a variety team in a Minecrafter event. I don't know who Saiiren all knows. I know that 5-up and Saiiren are familiar, but who else is going to be on this team? I don't know. It's going to be really interesting, but we have a lot of developments, and regardless of who will be in or not, I think we've already seen a foundation for a really interesting event that I'm actually excited to see or potentially play in. We'll see what happens, but yeah, it'll be really fun. And shout outs to MCC and Scott for pulling something like this together. I'm just particularly really excited to see a VTuber make their way into MCC. I didn't really expect this to happen, but that would be really cool. I think that generally would open up maybe the event scene, but probably more so between Blockers and MCC. Some maybe more different audience to appeal to the Minecraft event scene. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I'll see you later. Goodbye.